What's up, Nerdyverse? I'm Daddy Louie, and in this video, we are taking a look at a game called Scrubs Center for American Medicine. So stick around. Before we get started, if you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe for more content and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. Scrubs Center for American Medicine, or S.C.A.M for short, is an upcoming Kickstarter from Pleiades Games. It launches on September 24th. It is for 2 to 4 players for ages 13 and up and takes around 30 to 60 minutes to play. Just like previously reviewed Sea Shanties, which was also from Pleiades Games, this game will come with no plastic bits at all. Everything will be wooden, paper, cardboards, stuff like that. I really applaud Pleiades Games for doing that. It's really impressive and definitely appreciated. Also, all of their character models and patient designs will all be inclusive, so they will represent all orientations, gender, race, etc. Again, here at Circle of Nerds, we're all about inclusion, so this stuff goes a long way with me, and I'm really glad to see it transferred over here in a board game. So S.C.A.M is played over 3 rounds, or 3 days as it's called in the game. Each round or day has 3 phases in it, and the player with the most profit from their hospital ward at the end of the game will be declared the winner. But is it good? Well, if you join me on the table, we'll check it out. All right, so once inside the box, this is everything that we got. Now, I do have to mention that this is a prototype version, and I've been told that not a lot of the art is finalized. The components aren't necessarily finalized, so really what we're looking at is the mechanics. I do really like how the rulebook came as a pamphlet, kind of like one of those pamphlets you'd see in a hospital, you know, with some medical information or whatever. I think that's really, really cool. Also, I want to mention that the cards came in their own individual deck boxes. And you don't really see this too often in board games where the cards come in deck boxes. They usually come in plastic trays and stuff like that. Like I mentioned, there isn't going to be any plastic in this game. So I hope that they do keep these cardboard deck boxes, because I kind of really like them. So we have 4-player boards. This is a 2 to 4 player game, and each player is going to get one of these, and they're going to also get a PR token and a profit token, which they will use to keep track of their current PR as well as their current profit. What color that you choose will matter. It wasn't necessarily apparent when I first started playing the game, but each player that plays is going to have a specialty. There's 4 types of main diseases, and you're basically going to specialize in one of those 4, which is going to help you in some way, which I'll explain once we get to it. So each player is going to get one of these and one each of these. Then in the center of the board, you will have the patient waiting room. This is where the patients will wait patiently for their turn to get admitted into your hospital ward. And then this outer line here is the profit tracker. This is where you're going to place your tokens to annotate what your current profit is at. Then we have a player 1 card. That's just to annotate whose first player is. Then you have a deck of procedures. These are the procedures that you're going to play in order to either help you by moving your patients into more profitable rooms, or by hurting your opponent and moving their patients out of their profitable rooms. Again, that will become more clear once I show you how to play. And then you have your patients. So each patient has a specialty. This is what they're being admitted for. They're color coordinated from the colors up here, blue, red, yellow, and green. And then they also have a value. That's how valuable that patient is to you in the hospital. And you can kind of see the theme here, right? So the theme is that you're wanting to keep the valuable patients in the hospital longer because you're trying to get as much money out of them as possible. And you're going to want to cure and get out the patients that are least valuable as quickly as possible. So it kind of has like this messed up dark theme, right? But at the same time, once you see how to play, the mechanics are pretty light, and it's actually a lot of fun. You just have to keep that in mind. But anyway, let me get set up for a game here, and I'll show you how to play. Okay, so here I have set up for a 2-player game. Like I said, S.C.A.M is played over 3 days or 3 rounds, and each day has 3 phases. So you'll have the enrollment phase, the procedure phase, and the billing phase. The procedure phase is the longest phase. The other 2 phases go pretty quick. So the first thing that you do is lay out 5 patients, keep the cards within reach of all the players, and then you select who's going to go first, and then you deal 5 procedure cards to each player. And then in the enrollment phase, each player is going to look at their hand, choose 1 procedure to keep, and then pass the other one clockwise to their opponents. And their opponents will do the same thing. They'll keep 1 and pass, and then you keep going back and forth like that until each player has 5 cards in their hand. So once you've done that, the enrollment phase, you move on to the procedure phase, starting with the first player. During the procedure phase, everybody's going to select 1 card from their hand, and they're going to play it face down. Then, starting with the first player, each player is going to reveal the procedure card and then perform the action on that card. So like here we've got overbooking. It says admit an additional patient this turn. So player 1 here is going to get to admit an additional patient. Then the next player goes and reveals theirs. This is a response card. Whenever you play a response card, you get a free PR. So you move up on the PR track here. And it says if a procedure targets you, the active player must discard a procedure card. This is a 2-player game here, so that nothing happened, but this is going to stay in play for the remainder of the round. So once all patients, once you've performed your procedures, then you also admit a patient, and you admit the first patient in line. So player 1 here is going to get this patient here, and it's going to go to their first hospital bed. Everybody shifts down in the line, and a new patient arrives. Then once this guy does that, same thing happens. He's going to get a patient. Everybody's going to move down, and you draw a new patient and place it there. And you're going to use these procedure cards in order to move these patients around and move your opponent's patients around as well. Because like I said in the beginning, you're wanting to try and get your valuable patients over here, basically in the most valuable room, because during scoring, they're going to be worth the most. Another thing that you want to keep in mind is that when you admit patients, these specialties, like I was mentioning before, match the colors on the board. So, for example, when we admitted this patient here, instead of going here, I can choose to admit anywhere that I want. So I could choose to admit them into this bed if I wanted to, because my ward specializes in their in the treatment, their illness that they are looking for. So that's probably what I would have done when I recruited this guy. Instead of putting them in the first bed available, which is what I would have had to have done, I'll put them, let's say, here. That way I've got a little bit of room. Another thing that you want to keep in mind is that if at any time a patient is slid off of the board from the right side, over here where this red arrow is, they die and you lose a PR, and you obviously aren't going to get credit for their value. Alternatively, if they ever get pushed off this side, they're healed. You still don't get their value when scoring, but you do get a PR, and PR is important when we go into the scoring or the billing phase. So that's the way that the procedure turn works. This overbooking would have allowed me to get an extra patient on my turn, so I'm going to get 2 patients, which is nice. And we bring another one in like that. And so that, like I said, that's the way that it works. You're going to select a card from your procedure hand, play it face down. Then you reveal, starting with the first player, you reveal the procedure, perform the action, admit the patient. Then once all players have done that, these get discarded. His doesn't, because the procedure stays in play. And then the response card stays in play. First player moves, and then you go again. And you do this until you've played 4 procedures. And your 5th procedure in your hand will be discarded. You won't get to use that this game, or this round. And then once that's happened 4 times, that back and forth, or in a 4-player game, it would go around in a circle. Then you would move on to the billing phase, which we'll talk about now. Okay, so once all of the players have played 4 procedures during the procedure phase, we move on to the billing phase, which is the last phase of the day. And the billing phase is quite simple. You're going to total all of your admitted patients in your ward. You're going to receive a PR point for every red valued patient that you have. And then you're going to receive PR bonuses based on wherever your PR is at. So when looking at the patients, right, we have a 1K patient here and a 5K patient here. So this bed is just worth the value on the card. So we get 1K for this bed. This is worth times 2, so we get 10K here. So we have 11K worth of patients in our ward. So we would score 11K on the tracker. This guy over here, he just has a 2K in a times 1 bed, so he is going to get he's going to get 2,000. Now we would look at our PR. He has 1 good PR. I have 3 good PR. I don't have any negative. These are the negatives right here in my ward, so I don't get any extra PR for that, but he doesn't either. So because I have the highest PR at the end of the first day, I get a bonus $5,000. At the end of the second day, whoever has the most PR, they get a bonus $10,000. And then on the third day or the third round, whoever has the most PR gets an extra $15,000. And then at the end of that round, at the end of the billing, everybody's PR goes back down to 0. You keep your patients, and then you basically start again with the enrollment phase, where you draw 5 cards, draft 1, pass, draft 1, pass, and then you go into the procedure phase. Everybody plays 4 procedures, 1 at a time, admitting patients, and then you go into billing. So again, you're using your procedure cards, and I can show you some of the procedure cards real quick, but you'll see, like, here it says gain 1 PR for every red valued patient currently admitted to the ward. So you get extra PR, which is good. Specialist, place this on an active patient. That patient can't be moved for the rest of the day, so opponents can't mess with you to move stuff around. Reassignment, switch the placement of any 2 active patients, whether they are in your ward or someone else's, so you can mess with your opponent moving patients around in their ward, or you can help yourself by moving patients around as well. So these cards are all basically going to be used in order to manipulate your ward or your opponent's ward, while you try and get your valuable patients to be in the valuable rooms, your less valuable patients in your less valuable rooms, and all the while trying to score as much money for your hospital ward as possible. And that is everything that you need to know in order to play Scrubs Center for American Medicine. So the game S.C.A.M has a very obvious theme behind it. It addresses a big issue with the American healthcare system. And let's be honest, if you yourself have not had at least one issue in the past with the American healthcare system, you at least know somebody that has. I appreciate Andrew, the creator of this game, using this medium as a place to address the issue. But he does it in a way that's both light and fun. And, this is honestly kind of a cool gateway game. He could have easily made this, same exact game be in like a dungeon theme or a village building theme. But he chose to use it this way, and it does give you some kind of both. Your emotions are torn because it's fun and you're having a good time, screwing over patients, but you're doing it in a way that also kind of makes you feel bad, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, I got some really good emotions, both, and man, this is really messed up how much fun I'm having doing this. But it's also kind of accurate to how, like, the system in real life actually works. So, again, kudos to Pleiades Games for a lot of stuff here, right? They did a great job creating kind of a gateway game. The rules are light. It's very easy to learn how to play, and it plays pretty quickly. Credit to them for keeping it environmentally friendly like they did for their previous game. Kudos for, the inclusion with the patient design and the character design. I love all of those things, and I love the theme. I love that we're making light of a bad situation and bringing it up to a medium where we can discuss it in a positive way, while also not, bashing anybody or anything like that. So, I like that it's, it's going to leave you a very lasting impression. And whether it's a fun, lighthearted impression or an important, strong message morally as well. So it's not like anything I've ever reviewed before. I enjoy the game. It's a lot of fun. I am looking forward to seeing what the final components look like, and you'll definitely want to go and check out this Kickstarter. Again, it launches on September 24th. Links to everything in the description below, and definitely go and check out this game and support this creator. What do you guys think of Scrubs Center for American Medicine, aka S.C.A.M for short? Let me know in the comments section down below. I enjoy reading all of those and interacting with you guys. If you want to see more from the Circle of Nerds, you can check out our social media. We have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Instagram, all at Circle of Nerds. Also, don't forget we have a podcast that comes out every Wednesday called The Cosmic Disaster Show. You can find that right here on YouTube or anywhere that you enjoy listening to podcasts. We also have a new Friday night live stream at 8:30 Eastern called Nerds on Ice, where we take a look at hot topics around the nerdyverse. And finally, if you would like to show us some extra love and affection, you can check us out over on Patreon at patreon.com/circleofnerds. Anyway, guys, that's all from me. I will see you in the next video.